Hello, I'm Kyle Mezapesa.
I'm Paul Burson.
I'm Sterling Vaughn.
Basically, we had to create a guideline to inform our students how to become active writers in their work being engaged.
Our audience is our English 1100 class, and we feel like on them knowing that our subject is engagement, everyone should be at least familiar with it because we all annotated the framework of post-secondary writing.
And immediately after reading the guide, our audience should know the benefits of being engaged in their writing. Then the abstract part of the text is for our reader to think about how they can incorporate engagement into their writing. For production strategies and arrangement patterns, we design and arrange the composition to be for students at ECU. We use school colors to give the audience a feel of what could be sort of expected as an ECU collegiate writer and as a visual choice. On the textual aspect, we use bolded headings in the same letter size and font, and the paragraphs in the same font and letter sizing to give the guide a flowing structure. We use the craft design principles by placing pictures in the document, making sure that it flows correctly.
In a matter of conventions, we are expected to create an informative guide with the guidelines that Miss West Puckett gave us. Ours took on the form of a simple, attention-oriented newsletter to inform our readers. This was chosen because it most effectively displayed our information in a logical order and with well-balanced space for graphic images to keep the audience engaged without wandering too far from the text.
So for the rhetorical appeals, we built a strong argument by by citing very prestigious writing organizations and providing examples from them as well as students. And we showed ethos by talking about writing organizations and their success, as well as Jonathan, which is a previous student of Miss West Puckett's, and showed that he's experienced in the habits of mind. And we showed pathos by talking one-on-one with the audience as a student and not so much as like a teacher to a student relationship or a professor to his pupil.
I was responsible for the introduction and conclusion of our guideline.
I was responsible for the student example.
I was responsible for the significance of our HOM, and I designed the student guide with the help of them critiquing what I did.
Our reviewers of our guideline included Kent, Gabriella, Miss West Puckett, and Will of the University Writing Center.
Kent talked about our grammatical errors and the parallel structure of sentences. Gabriella highlighted our awesome word usage. Ms. West Puckett reviewed the whole document and mentioned about our wordsmithing and what we should address. We have took all reviewers' comments into consideration and addressed what we felt was necessary to change with the assistance of Will from the University Writing Center.
So how we revised it is on our Google document, they would comment, we read each of their comments. We talked about each one amongst ourselves and figured what would be the best course of action. We edited it and then we took it to Will at the Writing Center, and he gave us confirmation whether that was the appropriate cause or not.
Given more time to work on our document, we would find more student examples and figure out how to incorporate them into our guide to further our connection with our audience.
So when it comes to leveling up as a group, which of the main scaffolding assignments was most useful to us, we felt each one was equally useful because each one built off each other, and we used each one to make sure the next part was even better.
That we used while developing this project was responsibility by setting appointments with the University Center with their consultants to meet deadlines and make sure that our paper was correct.
Another habit of mine we encountered was that of metacognition, which is thinking about thinking. This was practiced when choosing images for our guideline. We had to keep in mind what the readers would see and think. Miss West Puckett brought this to our attention when we had an image of all white writers when you first see our document. We took this into account and incorporated diversity, which was needed so that you can't single one person out when you now view our document.
So the third habit of mine we used was openness, and we were open to new ideas from our peers as well as ideas from Miss West Puckett and Will Writing Center, and we would try to implement them in our writing where we saw it fit.
And this concludes our reflection on the engagement student guide. Thank you.